my name is Michelle, and I'm also known as Starmy G. So I am a Twitch partner, and I have been streaming since 2014, and was working on my stream since 2013. So it's been a long time, and I've been, I guess I've been a partner for such a long time. I dealt with this problem a lot, and the problem is content burnout. And what that is not, it's kind of like writer's block, except it's content block. It's cock block. No, it's not. So what I want to talk about is how I dealt with it, how I think a lot of people could deal with it, and I think some of the things I came up with for the solution might help a lot of people. So let's get started. So what is burnout? Burnout is defined as physical or mental collapse. If you're like me, or you've been streaming for a very long time, you're gonna experience this, and you might experience it multiple times. And what it is not being able to come up with new content. You might be just running out of ideas for your channel, and I get that. I relate, and I feel like wherever you are as a creator, it's the hardest thing is that it's nobody else's fault, and the problem is you. And the problem with that is that you have to fix yourself. So this video, I'm gonna talk about things that helped me, and hopefully it helps you, or at least brings you into a direction where you can help yourself and you can continue to create and make beautiful things. You're one of the following people. One, you're on the road to being burnt out, or two, you are noticing that you are burnt out. Like, you have decided that you're officially burnt out. You just started that burnout phase. You labeled yourself as a burnouter. And three is that you've been burnt out for a long time, and you're just stuck, but you're ready to move on. You're just stuck still. So let's start with that. You're person number one. You're noticing that you're burning out, or maybe you don't notice that you're burning out. So I'm gonna tell you some of the signs that content creators experience when they're getting there. So some I mentioned earlier, but you have a harder time figuring out what you're gonna do next for your stream. And an example of that is you start to ask your viewers or your friends for ideas, and that's not bad. And sometimes it will sound like this. It will be like, let me know what you guys want to hear in the comments, and that's totally fine. That's great, especially when you're a streamer or a influencer or whatever you want to call yourself. If you're someone that cares about what your viewers want to see, yeah, that's totally normal. But when you're burning out, you're gonna notice that you're saying it so often, and in the back of your head, you're kind of like, please, someone tell me what to talk about, because I don't know what I'm doing. It just happens more and more. And when you start to depend on your viewers or your friends to give you ideas, you're getting flags. No. The second thing is that you start to notice your content is actually getting shorter. So your streams that might go from 4 hours might go to 2 hours, or your 20-minute YouTube videos are slowly turning into 10-minute videos, 5-minute videos. That's another sign. 3, you notice midway through your stream, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about anymore. Like, you don't. And it's a little scary, and of course, you're natural, you'll wing the rest of it, but you notice that it's happening more and more. You'll just have these like long pauses if you're a live streamer, or if you're a video creator, like, it's short and then you don't really know how to expand on your thoughts anymore. Or you might not even want to. That happens sometimes. Another thing is you start taking a lot longer to start your streams, and you start coming late. So like, let's say you're supposed to start every Wednesday at 6. You notice, if you reflect, you're like, oh damn, I'm starting to come in at like 6:10, 6:20, 7, 8, 9, or sometimes not at all. You just notice that you're producing a lot less. That's another sign. Another is that you start depending on trends a little too much. Like, you didn't always do that before. You're an original OG. You produce all this cool shit, but you're starting to look around like what other people are doing, and then putting your own spin on things, which is totally fine. Like, everyone does that. But if you're doing that way too much, you're not producing original content anymore. It's just another remixed, watered down version of whatever the previous person was talking about. So these are some things that you should kind of pick up on. Like, if you're more than one or two of those things, and it's happening more and more really fast, yeah, you're probably on your way to burning out. So let's get to number 2. You are burnt. You need a break. You don't know what's next. You don't know when your next stream is gonna be. You have no idea when you're gonna drop your next video. And, you have no motivation to even try. You need help, but you might not even want it. So that's burnout. You have accepted it is what it is. And that's fine, because we're human, we're not robots, and sometimes you just have nothing left to give people, and that's okay. So I'm gonna tell you what I did. I took a 2-month break from streaming, and I didn't tell myself, like in 2 months I'm gonna get all my shit together and I'm gonna produce again after 2 months. No, like, I just stopped. I had nothing left, and I didn't want to, give you or my viewers something that I didn't even care for, and I didn't want to produce garbage, so I stopped. Except that you are burnt out, so we can move on. Okay, so you want to get out of this gross burnout. First, I'm going to tell you the don'ts, what not to do, and then afterwards we'll talk about what to do. So the first thing I would suggest is don't touch it. Don't touch the stream or that video recorder at all. I completely got off Twitch. I confirmed with myself that I would not be making sporadic half-ass content. Any idea that I kind of had during that 2-month period, I wrote it down in a book. And I would reread these things a few days later and see if I still found it interesting. After collecting so many brainstorms and like ideas of new content, I felt better when I felt like there was enough that I was actually proud of. So that's the first thing. Don't record anything. Number 2, stay off social media. And this is hard, especially if this is your way of making a living, like I said. But I'll tell you why. And it's not hard if you're so burnt out to the point where you don't care anyways. So you just are at that point where you simply don't give a shit. Don't go on social media, and let me tell you why staying off social media is so important to creating content. If you consistently read or watch videos of other people talking about whatever you are usually talking about, what happens is when they're influencing your own original thoughts, right? So let's say, okay, I stream gaming content. When I'm consistently like listening to other people talk about like Tekken, for instance, okay? Tekken's a fighting game. If I keep hearing people's ideas of it, I start to agree with them. So like when I make anything involving Tekken, I'm gonna water down this information. It's not original anymore. Like I said, we don't want crappy content. And I'm not saying like the opinion is wrong, or like, you know, it's wrong to agree with people. No, of course, like most of the time I agree with I don't always agree with people, but you know, agreeing too much doesn't make you genuine or original anymore. So stay off of social media. And like another reason to stay off social media is you're gonna feel worse about yourself, because you're gonna be, you know, it's natural, you're gonna compare yourself to other content creators. You're going to wonder why yours isn't doing as well. Why is your viewership dropping, or like, you know, all these things. And if you're gonna reproduce, or not reproduce, if you're gonna create new stuff, you don't want anyone to have an influence on that in terms of quality. Like you don't want to be doing something just because someone else did it and you want to do it better. Like it's crap. You're giving crap. So when you're off social media, the best thing is that like when events happen, you have only your original thoughts, and you know, whether you remember those things or if you write it down, these are going to help you create your next videos, or you know, this is going to help you have these original thoughts and opinions that people are like, oh yeah, you know what, I never thought about it that way. So stay away from people like but in that genre, because like when I get to the do's, you're gonna be like, oh, I didn't think about that. So yeah, do not touch your stuff and stay off social media. So let's talk about things we want to do. So what do we do? I'm gonna give you a few things for you to do that might get you out of this funk. So first is watch totally unrelated content. So for me, my content is about gaming, and I watched content about makeup. As this is why I'm like dolled up and glammed up. I watched makeup reviews, tutorials. I even watched like just random documentaries. I watched successful influencers in the makeup industry, and I watched crappy influencers in the makeup industry, and I just absorbed it all, and I want you to do the same thing. Find something that you've never seen before, or you know, something you had a peak of an interest but never pursued or discovered, I guess. Find that, absorb everything, the culture, the community, and see how they branch into different content. And that's just something that I think sometimes we as influencers need, that like a refresh, like a restart. I'm not saying that I'm gonna completely get into makeup and make all this makeup content. No, it's just learning patterns and seeing how your mind can bring whatever content you usually normally do, see how you could branch it out even further the way other communities are doing it, because every community is totally different. That's what I would do. And you know, another really cool thing about that is that you're being entertained. You are sitting on the other side as a viewer, and sometimes you need to remember what that's like before you start creating more. Sometimes we forget what it is to watch something we don't know, and you know, your viewers might be doing that. They might be watching you and have no idea what the heck you're talking about, but for some reason you're still interesting. Learn what that feels like again, and you know, take as much time as you need. I was spending multiple hours watching makeup stuff. a day for 2 months. Like, I want to say I'm a professional, but I'm not. But yeah, just remember to put yourself back into why you are doing all this in the first place. Yeah. So, number 2, listen to voice actors, comedians, and animated series. And you're probably wondering, like, why, right? So, and remember, make sure that it has nothing to do with your content. When you hear different tones and different vocabulary, you develop your own sense of tone. That sounds dumb, but like, listen to pitches that get you excited. Notice how an actor builds up a story, and see where you start getting involved and, like, you know, getting really excited about what they're saying. What that does is you're kind of like getting ideas, and you're not replicating the same voice or anything. You're just changing the way you speak, and sometimes you need that. And this might not be for everybody, but for some people that experience burnout, near the end you have this like monotoned voice, and sometimes you just gotta like rediscover yourself, remake yourself. And sometimes that means talking differently. Like, it's not a bad thing per se, it's just character development. Think about it that way. Here's a cool story. A neuroscientist told me that an infant under the age of 1 learns the most. And you know why that is? It's because they're not talking, they're just listening. And when they're of age to finally speak, it's not like they're like mimicking everything they heard. It just develops into their personality. Pitch, that's really important. It becomes your personality. So something I feel like people don't remember is the way you speak is a huge chunk of your personality. Talking tone, pitch, you know, like way you segment and like go into things, that all plays a part of who you are. And sometimes you just need a little makeover. Like, no big deal. Number 5. Go out and do something you don't normally do and analyze it. Analyze the people. And this is, you know, similar to number 1 where I said go out and watch content. No, not that. Go out and redo hobbies that you did before your channel. For me, it was like I went dancing like a lot. Like, I clubbed a lot, I raved a lot. I started singing again. And you know, by the time you go back in, you feel lighter because you feel like you finally, you know, shook off that crappy feeling, and you know, you finally got out and had some fun, you know. And I'm not saying that you didn't have fun during the time you were making content, but the time you're off, it's about you. So focus on you and enjoy things. And sometimes learning new things can be implemented into new ideas as well. So that is number 5. Yeah, those are the do's. So let's recap, right? 1, watch completely unrelated content. 2, listen to voice actors, comedians, and animated series. 3, reconnect with family and friends. 4, work out or be physically active. And 5, pick up old hobbies or start new ones. We got pretty deep, huh? So anyways, that's my experience with burnout. That's what helped me get out of it. I hope that you took maybe one thing at least. I hope you remember how to notice burnout before it happens and what to do when you're in it. Good luck to all your channels, and you know, I wish you the best content ever. And remember me when you're famous. Also, subscribe. Bye.